Good evening, everyone. I hope you're doing good. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to carry on with the American Civilization Part 2. Just a quick reminder of the last lecture, which is the first settlements. We have spoken about the first settlement, trade and colonization, and 13 colonies. These are the major points that we discussed last time. Now, that was a general overview, that was a general outlook about the American civilization. The most important thing, which is the 13 colonies. I said they became states later, United States of America, but at that time they were not United States because they were not independent. They were still linked to England, because those who established these colonies, they had the authorization of the king to go to America and establish a colony there. So, since we have spoken about the 13 colonies, I have named them, listed them. You can check them in the previous video. Now I shall move to two major points which I will discuss in this video. I hope I'll make it brief in order to understand clearly, to grasp the most important things. Today we are going to deal with two major points: reasons for immigration and indentured servants. So, reasons for immigration, why people left their country and they went to America or the New World, or also called the Promised Land. And the indentured servants, those who were taken by the sponsors from England or elsewhere and to America, and they were considered to be slaves later on, but they revolted and they got their rights and they changed the contract with the sponsors, and we are going to see that later. So we start with reasons for immigration. So basically they wanted a greater economic opportunity, and also they wanted more religious freedom. So the quest for religious and political freedom. In England, they followed the king, and at that time, the king was a little bit, let's say, reluctant, stubborn. So the kings controlled everything: economy, religion, almost everything. So people didn't want that. They wanted more freedom. Do not forget, it was the age of Renaissance and Enlightenment and so on. So we should start with the Puritans. The Puritans were those who were in England. They wanted more religious freedom. Why? Because the Puritans, they were resented by the Anglican Church. When I say the Anglican Church, it means England at that time was not Catholic. Before it was Catholic, but there was what we call the Reformation. They changed religion. They shifted from Catholicism to Anglicanism. It means the Anglican Church was purely English. So the Puritans did not agree with such religion. Therefore, they resented the Anglican Church, and the Anglican Church resented them in return. So, for the Puritans, the Anglican Church was too Catholic. And the Puritans, by the way, are extremist when it comes to religion. They did not, they have forbidden dancing, drinking, music, almost everything. The English people did not like that, but the Puritans, it was their religion, so they wanted to defend their religion, of course. So since they did not find their freedom, their religious or economic freedom, so they decided to leave England and to go to the New World once they've heard about the discovery of America. So what did they do? They were, of course, persecuted by the Anglican Church, and they fled England, means they left England, and they went to Holland, and they called themselves the Pilgrims. They took a ship which is called the Mayflower, and they wanted to join Captain John Smith in Virginia. Do not forget, the first time we have spoken about the first settlements, I said the first settlement was established by Captain John Smith in Virginia in 1607. So these pilgrims, they wanted to join Captain John Smith and settle there with him in America. But unfortunately for them, there was a tempest, a storm in the ocean, and they were drifted, they were taken away from their path. So they landed in the north in a place called Plymouth Bay in Massachusetts in 1620. So they established their own colony, which is known as New England. We are going to get there later. So this is the reason why the Puritans left England and they went to America. Another reason, the Catholics of England and Quakers. Quakers basically they are peaceful people. They do not like wars or anything. So the Catholics and Quakers resented the Anglican Church as well. So they left England and they went to America. In 1642, there was a civil war in England, and between the Parliament and the monarchy. The Parliament, those who fought for the Parliament, they are called the parliamentarians or the Roundheads, and those who fought for the monarchy, they were called the Cavaliers or the Royalists. And the king of that time is called Charles I. Of course, Charles I lost the war and he was executed in 13th January 1649. So those who fought for Charles I, since he was killed, they were afraid that the parliament would seek to kill them as well in order to terminate anything, any kind of rebellion. So they were so afraid from the one who controlled the army of the parliament, whose name is Oliver Cromwell. So, two main reasons why these people left. They left, a lot of people left because there was a civil war in England, and another reason, which is the fact that those who fought for the king, after the execution of their king, they were afraid that they would be executed as well. So they fled England, they went to America as well. So these are basically the major reasons, but there are other reasons, of course, economic reasons. And since the king interfered in the economy, and there was the war, the Bishop War, and the politics in England were not stable at all. The Parliament was always at quarrel between with the monarchy in general, and Charles I was a stubborn. He did not like to have the consent of the Parliament in specific or in official matters. So people did not like that at all. So they decided to flee England and go to America. Now we move to the second point, which is the indentured servants. What do we mean by indentured servants? Basically, they are poor people who could not afford the trip to the New World. So these people wanted to go to America, but they couldn't afford the trip. They did not have enough money. So they were taken care of by sponsors, those who could afford a ship, to load a ship with enough provisions, enough soldiers to protect them from pirates, for example, and to navigate in the ocean. They found a way in order to exploit these people. They told them, we are going to take you to America, but once we get there, you are going to work for us for eternity. So they were going to be like slaves. But people, they refused. They did not want to go with them like that. So they refused slavery. But since the sponsors knew that they are going to lose a lot of things if they do not take them with them, this this gave them the opportunity to find a new deal. And in order to attract more ordinary people, more people who could not afford the trip to England. So what do we mean by this new deal? What is it about? So this deal is bound for 4 to 7 years, and after the contract is finished, they will be given a small piece of land to cultivate for themselves. They became successful farmers. What do we mean by this? So they tell these ordinary people, they tell them that you are going to come with us, we are going to pay the trip for you, but once we get there, you are going to work for us not for the eternity, but for a specific period of time, approximately from 4 to 7 years. And once your contract is finished, we are going to give you a small piece of land for you to own, to cultivate. And people accepted, and basically those people who accepted this contract, they became successful farmers in the future after their contract was finished. So, this is about the indentured servants. This is about the reasons for immigration. If I have made things clear, that's more like it. If you have more questions, more details, if you seek more details, do not hesitate to message me. I'm going to leave my personal email, the link of my Facebook profile, and I tell you, see you in the next video. Peace.